Hi, everybody. Welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Danny Vega, joined today by Shannon D.
That's me.
Jacques David.
The man formerly known as Jake Davis, now exclusively Jacques David.
He's stepping
Jacques
into
David.
it. They have weed in France.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
How do you know?
Well, I was at a party one time. I was at the Fête de Bayonne. It's in Biarritz, which is like the south of France.
I did not know this was going to be like total French off. This is sick as
You're
fuck.
getting tagged hard.
And I was looking for some weed, and these guys were smoking weed, and I went by them, and I was like, "Oh, could I join in on it?" Basically, and they're like, "No."
What?
Yeah, I was like,
Fuck them.
This is how you say le chronique. You cannot have your Americans.
I know. I was like,
You do not
okay.
appreciate our French.
Let her have
It was
some.
me. Yeah. It was
This
What?
is how you say a cat piece.
Oh,
a
you
strain.
nasty French people. Wait, so what were you there for? The what of what?
Well, we were just there with Max's family. It was just
No, but
a
what's the
vacation.
event? You said-
Fête de Bayonne.
God bless you.
And we
What was
just
the
happened
event?
to be there. It's like a huge festival in
Bayonne.
Biarritz. And you wear white with red scarves.
What in the midsummer?
And it's just like a fun kind of party
And
in
we-
the
it's
a
streets.
party.
Yeah, big old party in the
And we
streets.
smoke weed in front of you, but you may not have any.
Yeah.
I actually kind of get
cool.
not sharing your joint with a stranger. I'll say that. It's easy to
Yeah.
dunk on French people, but that is something that I respect when someone's just like, I'd rather not.
Fuck that. No, that's bullshit. But I
know,
still
at a
don't understand.
party?
What is this? It's just like it's like Mardi Gras?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
It's like its own thing. But yeah, just a big old party. We weren't even there specifically for that. It just happened to be
just
going on.
happened.
So we were like, hell yeah. We were there with his cousins and we all just went out.
But I never seen this side of you where you're like talking French and shit with a lot of confidence. Are you a French girl? Like you been there a lot or what?
I didn't say any French words except for the names of the places.
No, you said the name of the fair and you said the city. It was a lot of confidence. I like French on you.
Oh, thank you.
You said you like
I've
French
only been
onion.
a few times.
French.
I've been a
onion.
few
Jake,
times.
Quit trying to Americanize this, damn it.
You're the one who compared it to Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
I don't know French at all. Like I've just been there. Just like I think I've been to Paris maybe 3 times and south of France twice. And then we're going next year.
That's a lot
That's
of
a lot of
Frenching.
French. That's a lot of French dressing.
Yeah.
French dressing. But we were supposed to go in a couple weeks, but it got canceled.
Yeah.
But we're going next September for Max's younger brother's wedding.
Okay. So you guys got to understand too is that Shannon didn't know bone marrow was something you ate. So
I didn't say that.
Well, you were
I just said I never
Wow.
had
You
it.
did Fox News that one a little bit.
no, you did sort of say that you had the realization that it was something that you could. You were
No,
curious.
that's not what happened at all.
Is that not what
I literally
happened?
just said, oh, I don't think I've ever tried it.
Yeah, you've never
But
had.
then I was
it.
like, maybe I have. I don't know. And then you were like, oh, you don't.
It's served out of a
Nice.
bone.
Yeah, and I knew
Yeah.
all of that. Like, I didn't need any of that information shared with me.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't.
I do want to call out that when you said, do they have weed in France? I immediately said yes. And Shannon said yes. And then you challenged Shannon. How do you know? I've never been to France once in my life.
Yeah, but you've been to weed.
Oh, you've been to weed?
The theme of our episode today is World Mental Health. And
Yes.
personally, I think weed is dog shit for mental health. There, I said it. I said
Yeah.
it.
For you,
That's true.
It can be an incredibly useful tool for people.
I'm not
dealing
saying
with
it just for me.
PTSD.
I believe that there are certain people who can benefit from it. But I think on World Mental Health theme, I am thinking that I think weed can be very harmful because it makes you so hungry. And
That's it.
it's mainly the hunger. No, paranoid, hungry. I personally don't enjoy it. I'm not, this isn't an anti-weed episode.
No.
But we are pro-French on World Mental Health Day. I don't know. What do we have to say about mental health? I guess it's just such a big topic. My dad is a psychologist. And actually, I talked to my brother on the way here, if you can imagine that.
Oh.
And I'm actually going to wield this. I don't know if you guys know. My dad's parents are first cousins. So that's my excuse now.
Your dad's parents?
First cousins. Yeah. And they met. Shannon just looked at Jake. So very dramatically. So they met when they were like in their mid 20s and they fell in love, but they are first cousins.
Did they know they were first cousins?
When they
Yes.
had your dad?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. They knew. they knew. And so anything that I do that's weird, it's like, that's not my fault. That's because my
it's all
dad's
making
parents are first cousins.
sense.
And by the way, my mom hates when we bring stuff like this up.
Well, now we're telling it to all the listeners.
Is this a pod reveal? Have you talked about this on the podcast before, or was it just
I
Shannon
might have
and I?
danced around it. But
Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
and then remember when you dated your cousin?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's much, much more intricate than
You
our-
did prove that you're not.
There's no
They're
blood.
not
There's
blood.
no
There's no
blood,
blood.
yes.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
your
besides,
cousin's
I
cousin.
did spit my blood into her mouth, but that's something that I paid her for.
That's a kink.
Anyway,
Wait,
I've done
but it
that
was your
joke so many
cousin's
times.
cousin,
Anyway,
right?
what's that?
It was your cousin's cousin.
It's very complicated. There's a whole chart that explains it, but there's no blood between us. On World Mental Health Day, we don't recommend. Is it a day or is it a month? Mental health.
Not a clue.
It's a lifestyle.
It's 365, baby.
But no, I've been reading that trauma book. That's interesting. The Body Keeps Score. Have you guys heard of this? It was like a big deal a couple of years ago. I'm kind of late. No, nothing.
I don't think so.
You've never even heard of it? The Body
This
Keeps the
trauma
Score?
book?
Yeah, the trauma book.
Oh, your body keeps the score.
Yeah, the body.
Yes,
Oh,
I
you've
have
heard of
that.
it. It's been interesting. You know what? You know what I cannot stand. I can look at gore or whatever. There's like almost nothing. Surgery's gone awry. That shit sends me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound fun.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
The awry
like
part, I would
nauseous.
imagine.
yeah, no, the surgery part is like
Kinda
we're in the
makes sense.
hospital. I'm like, oh, no, the hospital. No, but anyway, so there's a really interesting one where this woman is getting the old surge, and she not the scary part yet. And then they give her the anesthetic. Ooh, but they didn't give her enough. You hate to see it, folks.
Yeah.
So anyway, she comes out of surgery and she's like, I don't feel like myself. And she basically said like she couldn't be present in any moment. And she like didn't understand, but like she's like, something really bad happened to me. And she had like just like very like disconnected memories of it. Like a really sharp pain, and then the surgeon like saying something like, "Oh fuck, I think we made a little boo boo there," or whatever. Like she had these, and it took like over a month for her to like just kind of understand what was actually happening.
Okay.
And anyway, how she got better was, I mean, she did a lot of therapy, but she ended up like joining a Pilates class, and she said she connected with all the women in there, and they were very supportive of her. And that was how she is able to make a lot of progress toward addressing that trauma.
Wow.
That's great.
Straight up woke up during the old surge.
And it sounded like her surgeon was Yogi Bear, which would be
That's
a
sign.
Made a
That's
boo-boo
a
there.
sign. Do not be operated on by a Hanna-Barbera.
Because he's going to be looking for picnic
Character.
baskets in there.
Woohoo.
I did actually, on the relevance of this, I started going back to therapy on Monday.
Oh,
So
yeah.
2 days ago.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
My new
That is
therapist is
great.
cool. I think I kind of scared him a little bit because I made like 3 media references throughout the first, just like making reference points.
Meteor?
Media, like
Media,
making like
yes.
referencing movie characters and like beats from movies as like reference points for what I was talking about. And he was a great sport about it, but I could definitely see the eyebrows go up of like, okay, he's one of these guys. But it's been about 6 months. I've worked with the same therapist for about 2 years, give or take. Had a great experience with him, and then had the intention of getting back into it, but just life and everything else sort of getting away from me. And then next thing you know, it's 6 months, and there's plenty of work to be done. So I'm feeling really good about that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's great.
Do you have any therapy experience, Shannon?
Yeah, I'm in therapy.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know
Why
that
are you
at
so
all.
surprised by that?
I don't know. You were giving this energy on my trauma story where I was like, oh, she hated that for some reason. I didn't know
Your
what that.
trauma story?
I was talking about the surgery thing, and I don't know. I just felt like you didn't like the story.
No, that has nothing to do with me going to therapy.
No, I didn't know how to read it. I just like, but anyway, so you go to therapy. That's
Yeah,
great.
I do it over the web video. And I actually, in the past, when I've gone to therapy, I've really enjoyed it and like didn't want the hour to end because I felt like I had so much to say. And now I'm like counting down the minutes for it to be over. I don't know why. Maybe she's challenging me more or something.
I've had those sessions though. The sessions where like you get 20 minutes in and you're kind of like, okay, I'm out of stuff this week. I don't know where we
I
go
just,
from
like,
here.
don't want
that's
to
not
get
what she
deep
said.
into it.
Oh, you don't want to. Well, you said she's the reason you think it might be feeling long is because she's challenging you.
Yeah.
That's so unexpected to me.
Why?
You go there to be challenged. It's not supposed to feel good.
I know, but I think that's why I'm like, oh, therapy. When I used to like it, because I used to just like, because I guess most times when I was with any time before I would do therapy, it was like a lot of like trying to catch them up, get them up to speed on my life. So it was like a lot of information I was giving them because they were, I was always kind of like hopping around. And I've been with this one for maybe like a year now. And yeah, so I'm just like, ugh.
Have you ever caught your therapist having like having a kind of quiet moment of triumph where they get a breakthrough with you? Because one time my previous therapist was fantastic. We had a major breakthrough, and like while I'm processing this, I swear I could see just this like tiny glint in his eye that was like a three, like an NBA star hitting a 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Got him. I'm not in therapy. I have done it. I think it's a great thing. I think, I endorse the shit out of it. But I do journal. I've been journaling a lot, but I'm actually going through a bit of a mental health incident. I wouldn't say it's a crisis. It's a good thing. But I was over at the coffee shop on Sunday, and I've been going out a lot now to write. I never did that before, or if I did, it was many years ago. And I'll just go out with a journal. Now I handwrite, and I never used to handwrite either.
Always hurts my hands.
It hurts. Yeah, it hurts me a little bit.
You have to get used to it.
Yeah, I gotta get used to it. So anyway, I'm writing and whatever. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I need to like clean my house. I need to reorganize my house.
Oh yeah, yesterday.
Yeah. And I
You
like
were on one. So was I.
I'm on one, guys. And it hasn't stopped.
That's good.
It's been days and everything. And it's like, I don't know who I am. I've never been like this. The house has been how it has for so long. And it really feels like I'm possessed by like a clean demon. I don't understand.
That's a pretty good
It
demon to be
happens
possessed
for
by.
sure.
So
I go through periods of that.
we'll come back to that. So anyway, but today the weirdest thing was, so I found this new song I like, and I've told you guys before, when I find a song I like, it's like sick. It's like my codependency with people.
Me too.
I loop
play
it.
over
Oh
and
my
over.
God.
I'm in one of those.
Oh my
phases
God.
right now,
Is it Dummy by
too.
Portugal the Man? Because wow, they damn did that one in.
Okay.
Anyway,
listen.
and I'm playing the song over and over, whatever. That's not unusual. What's unusual is I started dancing, and I'm like, who the fuck am I? I don't do this. Dancing in my room.
Oh,
It's so weird.
It seems. I think these are all really nice, lovely changes.
It sounds like the spell worked.
So anyway, I did Google because I was like, is this a thing? And I found this pretty good Medium article. And I say it's pretty good because it is like has that paywall, and I had to log in and all that shit. You know, I hate that shit. Everything is like that now. Anyway. And it was written during quarantine, and apparently there was a big thing during the core when a lot of people felt that Marie Kondo energy simultaneously, and everybody kind of synced up and was like, let's redo the house, But yeah, I think cleaning, and I have been reading a lot, and this does add up. Having a cluttered house takes up space in your head. It takes up space in your fucking head.
Anytime my house is not clean, and I'll be in like such a terrible place, and then I clean it, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now I'm ready to like take on the day.
Yeah, one thing I love about cleaning and reorganizing is it did make me feel some disgust toward myself, because like I am a bit of an electronics hoarder, and there was quite a few things where I'm like, didn't need to buy this, Danny.
Yeah.
Didn't need to buy this. Didn't need to buy. You bought the same thing 4 times, bro.
Oh yeah.
But the other part is that you're like, oh my God, this thing, I have this. I've always had it. This is so fun.
Yes.
And you get to enjoy like your fucking apartment or whatever your space or the rooftop.
Yeah.
I don't live in Venice by the beach, but you know.
I could see you being really miserable in the West Side in general. I don't know why. I just feel like that environment wouldn't agree with you for the long term.
Yeah, but one wheeling on the bourboardwalk.
It's a stunner over
love
there.
it.
You know, I guess, okay, let's go over what are the bad parts about the West Side. I could run into Shannon. No, I mean, some of my good friends live over there, but I don't know. Echo Park's grown on me. You know what it is? I love to go. I go to this coffee shop called Stories. Have you guys heard of Stories?
Yeah, I have.
It's a bookstore coffee shop.
Oh, cool.
And I am the most fucking boring person there, always. Like, there I am, little bro, fucking broing out. You know, everybody there has like fucking full body tattoos. They have readings there. I stayed there for a reading, and this woman was like, it was actually pretty specific. It was like she did like, I'm gonna just say it to put it simply, porn, but it wasn't porn actually. It was like pornographic art. She didn't sell porn, and like so she had like a whole memoir. It was like very specific niche, And literally she gave an hour-long talk about doing that. And it's just like, I'm the most plain, boring person there. And that's interesting to me. I like that.
It's interesting to you that you were the boring person there.
There's literally no one, like, there's no like standard issue bros there, like guy in jeans and hoka is like, hey guys, what's up? I got a podcast. Like, it's not, everyone there is like, I'm a performance artist. I lit my family on fire and it was beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, it's like weird.
I feel like Echo Park has more heart and more character than a lot of the different neighborhoods around Los Angeles. It's got deep roots in Echo Park, and I think you see that every which way you look. So that makes a lot of sense to me.
It's a cool neighborhood. So yeah, journaling, therapy. What else can we say about mental health?
Go down to the quarry, throw rocks in there. That's good for you.
Exploring.
Oh, yeah.
I'll meet you there. The quarry sounds kind of depressing to me, but hey,
it's like this big chasm, nothing in there except for stagnant puddles.
I like this guy like doesn't understand. They're like, go explore nature, okay? That's your like therapy homework assignment. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Sam's Club. It's big and open. Okay, no, like
not even Costco, Sam's Club.
Yeah, guys, please listen to the pod on Spotify, rate, review, and subscribe on ye old Spotify. That's how I found this new song. Actually, they got good like whatever algos on there.
They got music on Spotify.
Sure do.
Now it really feels like a commercial. Wait a second.
Next thing you're gonna do is tell me they got stand-up comedy on Spotify.
All the audio content you can imagine. But I do love Spotify. Our second story of the day, AITA, for telling my wife our son's mental health should be more important to her than her sister's physical health. But first, we love her. It's Shannon.
AITA for not conforming in the group for someone's mental health. I have 3 roommates. Originally, I didn't want the new roommate, Sarah, to move in because of her mental health. I got outvoted, though. The rest of the roommates have been friends with her since they were kids. Sarah has a hard time living in reality, and not in the way of spacing out, but in the way if one thing goes wrong, she has a mental breakdown. These breakdowns can be set up by the simplest thing. Room, not the way she likes it. Someone was mean to her, meat in the house, etc. The rest of the roommates do everything to accommodate her to prevent these breakdowns. Everyone is walking on eggshells around her. She has been here for 2 weeks and she has already broken every boundary I put in place. Don't go in my room. Well, she broke that. Don't move other people's things. She moved them because they made her stressed. Her friends indulge her and will do anything to calm her down. I came home to a game of don't touch the floor since she was having a breakdown and the roommates were trying to calm her down. Well, when she saw I was touching the floor, her meltdown became worse.
No.
The 2 roommates pulled me aside and want me to conform to how she does things to prevent these breakdowns. There's a giant list of things to do. Don't leave wrappers near the dishwasher, a special way to fold my clothes, banning pesto and garlic from the house when she's not even allergic, and joining in on the lava game to calm her down. I told them no, and this is exactly why I didn't want her to move in. She needs to get a grip on reality or start by getting a therapist. I'm not changing my crap and not walking on eggshells near her. They called me an ass and that I'm putting her mental health at risk. AITA?
Well, this, of course, is a classic case of lava game personality disorder, which is in the DSM-6 remix. Now, that's what I call DSM. What is going on with this person?
I don't know.
I was trying to be really open on this one, and I don't know when y'all checked out on this, because I feel like all of us kind of hit a point in this where we were like, okay, I can't with this. Mine is she needs to go to therapy. You're making your roommates play the floor is lava out of necessity, and you're not already in therapy.
Oh, that when you found out that she wasn't already in
yes,
it.
that was where I'm like, you need to be doing some of the work if you're at this point. This this is cuckoo bananas. And I don't mean that in a pejorative way against crazy people. I mean, it's cuckoo bananas in the sense that no one is actually helping her take the steps
In the lava game world, I feel like cuckoo bananas is also a very appropriate medical diagnosis. Like, what is going on?
Did you guys ever see that reality show, The Floor is Lava?
Well, it was more of a game show than a reality show, right?
Yeah.
My friend worked on that, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did set
It
design.
was like an obstacle course, basically, of like there was lava and you had to like hop from like pad to pad and like,
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
fun.
know, monkey bars and
They
stuff.
had like big sets that like sometimes would be themed like a big living room.
So it's kind of like the one where the jumpers and stuff.
Are you thinking of Wipeout?
You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
It's the reverse of that because Wipeout is don't touch the water. This one is the floor is lava. So you actually died on the show that Shannon's describing because
Yeah,
it was real lava.
lava.
You fell into the magma.
I have no idea if you're joking or not.
It was.
It was real lava?
Yeah, and people would die.
Daniel.
People would
It was,
die,
on
Danny.
it was on network television.
I don't understand.
The magma is not real.
We're
It was
joking. It's like the same thing, but there's lava.
it's just like colored
Fake
water.
lava.
Oh.
Are you disappointed now?
Noodles.
I just pictured a very different kind of game, more strategic. You know, it's like
So anywho, this woman, I mean, she's got some seriously good friends for putting up with this. Like, good Lord. But you're actually doing your friend a disservice by just accommodating for all of these behaviors when she needs to kind of grow past these.
Yeah, this is enabling. I'm not sure if this is being a good friend. I'm
Yeah, you're
worried
right.
that this is actually stagnating your development and being able to like there might be some really serious stuff going on here. It certainly seems like there is if none of this is disingenuous.
Definitely.
But you got to be an advocate for her getting help. You can't help her pass some of these problems.
yeah, I think your mental health kind of has to end at other people. You know what I mean? When your mental health is all of a sudden contingent on other people doing things, like she moved other people's things because they made her stress.
Fold your clothes the right way.
I know.
That one jumped
that
out at me
one's
too.
wild.
How
I
does
saw
that
that
affect
one
you?
too.
You know, there are a couple rules though where I was like, that doesn't seem so unreasonable. Like, don't leave wrappers near the dishwasher. I'm like, well, that's reasonable. You shouldn't be leaving wrappers
Yeah, like
out.
shared space things. I
Yeah.
understand for
It does
sure.
also kind of sound like an old Irish folk rule of don't leave out your apple peelings near the laundry hamper. Like, it's very specific, like just
Yeah.
wrappers.
It's very specific.
Yeah, other trash is fine.
Yeah, just
No
don't. I want to
wrappers.
see any Snickers wrappers
Well,
near
and then
that
this
washer.
is very big. No pesto or garlic, but she's not allergic.
What
Yeah, I
the
wonder
what the
what's up
fuck is
with
that?
That's so
Very
obnoxious.
strange.
I also like how OP just says, I'm not changing my crap. It's fair.
Good
This is
on
a
ya.
crap.
The way that OP opened the situation kind of had me raising my eyebrow of like, I didn't want Sarah to move in because of her mental health. That sounds super
Yeah,
cruel.
it does sound bad.
But then you like, oh, you can't fold your shirt a certain way or she has a
Yeah.
meltdown.
And your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. Like that's where you should feel your absolute most comfortable. And I've definitely been in situations where I didn't get along with my roommate, and it was just like so uncomfortable to be at
awful.
home when they're there. And it's like the only break I ever really had was when she wasn't home. Even if we were in separate rooms, it was still like that tension was there, you know?
Yeah. You
Of
can't
like, oh
really
shit, are we both
relax.
going to go out into the living room at the same time?
Yeah,
like,
I
I don't
hate
want to
that
see her. I
feeling.
want to be just like relaxed in my own space, be able to do whatever I want. And I can absolutely understand
Not be
why this
confronted.
woman wouldn't want this roommate to move in.
But it's a question for both of you, but where is sort of your personal line on accommodating people that are dealing with something, that are going through a strenuous time? Where do you kind of put your boundary of I can't go past this line?
I mean, I think it's case by case, obviously. You know, people can build up a lot of goodwill. That's going to give, obviously, if like my brother was pissing me off and, you know, I'd be like, first of all, this kid's dad's parents are first cousins. Like, he's going to be fucked up, you know? But I think I hit the limit a lot quicker with people if somebody's conveying some kind of this shit like early on and they ain't got any goodwill with me, I'll cut them fast now. Cause I'm like, I can't afford it. I really can't afford it. Like, I don't know. I feel like 30, like, do you guys feel a little bit like, obviously there's a lot of life left, but like I kind of get it now. Like I kind of know where this whole thing is going, and like it's very finite to me now. It's not that I feel like I'm dying tomorrow, but I'm like, when I was 20, I was like, I'm gonna live forever.
Yeah, you don't think about it because it feels so far away. And I mean, even though we are still quite young, like, yeah, it's starting to feel a little more real. Like, oh, we need to kind of set up the rest of our lives. Like, so it's kind of more of a daily reminder. When you're young, like you don't care about it at all. So I see that, and not wanting to waste your time with toxic people.
Can't afford it. I ain't got time for that shit.
Wise man once said, the years stop coming and they don't stop coming.
So
that was some truth. But I think, it just depends. There's like different, like I have had, limited success, boxing people a little bit. It's like, if there's like, there's a lot of crazy comedians out there, and it's like, I have had like really long relationships that have worked because we have just like specific ways that we encounter each other, and those relationships don't become so intense. We're not intimate necessarily, but there's like some comedians that like every interaction we've had is good, but they're sporadic. We're not close, but like, and then I have,
they're more like colleagues in a way.
Yes, colleagues. We see each other at a show, we have a very fun like interaction, and then that's it. But yeah,
actually I've had a few. One I'm thinking of specifically, I knew her through the comedy world as well, and it just became very apparent that she had a lot of mental health problems, and it was sort of unfairly being put on me. Like she was kind of treating me poorly, and that I sort of had to be like, I tried a few times after like this one specific incident, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore, because it just didn't get any better. It was like, okay, if that was one isolated incident, I understand the misunderstanding, etc. But it was just like, it was kind of always happening. And I was like, it's just too much for me.
I hear you. I've had to learn that one of my, a thing that I really like about myself is that I have a lot of wherewithal for people. I can put up with a lot and meet people on their level a lot, but people with less than great intentions, or people who might not even recognize that they can be a little bit manipulative, they see that and they're drawn to that, and they can see how much that they can get out of me. And one particular relationship with somebody who, I know Danny knows, it's somebody I once thought of as a best friend. It was kind of a last straw for me, where it's like, I need to not rely on my capacity to just keep giving to people, and I need to kind of be able to put my boundaries up and recognize, like, you're not treating me well. You're using the stuff that isn't going right for you as an excuse to treat me as less than, and that
kind of weaponized.
Yeah, and it kind of hit a final breaking point with him, where I've been able to sort of recognize that, and in turn be a lot more receptive to where I can improve on making other people feel more comfortable as well. Like Danny, we once had an incident where I'm sure you're comfortable talking about this, where we were on a weekend together and you asked me to not drink for the rest of the weekend because I was being kind of obnoxious, and you recognized that part of what was making you uncomfortable was my drinking. And it's a really easy thing for me to just be like, yeah, that's an easy thing for me to cut out. I don't want to make you feel comfortable. And even in the moment where I couldn't recognize how my behavior was problematic for you, in retrospect, I totally get it. And it was one of those just like easy, like, yeah, that's an easy, comfortable thing for me to do to make you feel easier when you're around me. And it's just that I don't think that if I hadn't registered that of like, I'm being taken advantage of by this other friend, I think lessons like that would be harder pills for me to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, I think conflict is always when you learn, maybe you get to a point like I think there's a lot. I think, look, I can be pretty intense where it's like I said, I'm all or nothing, and I think one thing I've learned with time is like, it doesn't need to be that way. Not everyone who's in your life, you don't need to share all your heavy shit with them, and they don't need to share all their heavy shit with you. So I think that's been something I've been better at, and it always goes to conflict. Like if you can manage a conflict, you should be able to grow closer after it, hopefully.
Yes.
Right. If it really truly settles, but what I've realized too is like, you can also be in a relationship with someone and just not have conflicts. Like maybe, I think a classic example is roommates, right?
Yeah.
Like if any combination of us had to be roommates here, like that would really suck. I would be terrified, right? I would be terrified because all of a sudden, you're going to have conflicts. They're not about your friendship. Now they're about your roommate ship, which like just kind of sucks.
That's why living with friends is never a good idea.
I don't know about that. Me and Corey lived together for 7 years. No problems.
Yeah,
we were
it
never in
depends
conflict with
on-
one another.
Depends on the type of personalities for sure. Like I've roomed with people where it was like great.
It's a risk.
Yeah,
It can
but
work.
is
It's a risk.
Yeah.
AITA for not conforming in the group for someone's mental health. I think, I almost hope this is fake because this lava game shit is just really wild. But I think this person does need to, they need to take some actions for themselves.
Maybe they need to touch the lava. Maybe that would, hey, look at me. I'm in the lava and I'm fine.
I thought it was a real TV show, damn it. I was compelled. I thought it was about carefully crossing the lava.
I couldn't tell if you were messing with us. If you were like, can I get them to think that I
It's
actually
a real
think?
show.
No, I know, but you're not understanding. I thought it was real lava.
Yeah, I know.
But then they're crossing it like super carefully, like in a way where no one will actually die, but it's real lava.
If it was real lava, I would be shocked that you hadn't heard about it.
I would be
or that
watching.
anyone hadn't heard about it.
truly.
Have you heard about the fucking lava show?
That would be insane.
So again, what were we saying? NTA?
I gotta
NTA,
go NTA. It's a
Yeah.
crazy
NTA,
ask.
they are.
I shouldn't say crazy. It's an absurd ask.
He caught
Yeah.
it, folks. He caught it. Rate, review, subscribe on Spotify. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Discord, active community, Jake, Shannon, chat to me. I've been posting updates about my new friend at the park, old Crookneck. He's a goose with multiple crooks in his neck. It's on my Discord channel. Nobody cares about it, but I'm promoting him.
Old
because I-
Crookneck.
Old crook.
It makes me laugh really hard.
85 years old he is.
So old. And yeah,
Go ahead.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. And that's it. Here we go. AITA for telling my wife our son's mental health should be more important to her than her sister's physical health. Last month, my son Will, 17M, and my wife's sister Michelle, 22F, got into a car accident and had to be hospitalized. Will had some painful but not life-threatening injuries, but has been deeply traumatized and distressed, and mostly just guilty because he was driving and Michelle was injured far worse. She had major head, spinal, and chest injuries, clinically died multiple times. I'm sorry, but I have never read any. She died multiple times.
Clinically.
And it seemed very unlikely that she would survive for the first 2 weeks after the accident. Ever since, you could argue she didn't. She died multiple times.
That's true.
Ever since the accident, my wife has been completely focused on Michelle and has barely had any time for Will. When I told her I think Will has PTSD, she spoke to him for an hour and then went back to the hospital and has expected me to handle everything. I don't mind taking care of the house or our other 2 kids, but I feel like I'm out of depth with Will and genuinely need her help and support there. My wife has always been better at talking to the kids than me, which is why I need her time and attention, but she's always at the hospital. I haven't told her anything yet, but now that Michelle has finally started to talk and walk, I told my wife that she needs to spend time helping Will with his mental trauma. It looks like she doesn't care about it from where I'm standing. She got so upset and said Michelle is like her first child, but I said Will is actually her first child and needs her more. Michelle has her own parents to take care of her, and that our son's mental health should be more important to her than her sister's physical health. She accused me of not sympathizing with her and said she can't even go 1 minute without thinking about Michelle and how she won't be able to live independently for months, if not years. I said that should be her parents' problem, while Will should be hers. She started crying and hasn't said anything else. I've been giving her some space ever since, and I'm starting to feel a little guilty. AITA.
I feel like maybe this would be a fair ask if the son's mental health was at the level that it was risking his life in the way that her sister's physical health is. Like if he was on the verge of like trying to end his life or something, I could see it being like, okay, like we need, all hands on deck here. But, her sister's in the hospital. I mean, at this point she's walking and talking and that's great. But before she was like, clinically died. So it just seems like the stakes are a lot higher for the sister at this current point in time. So I kind of think it's like, buddy, you need to step up to the plate and you need to take on this at this moment because she's busy with her sister. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a toughie. I think this is a horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah, it's really
and
sad.
it would be easy for me to just say, men act better than emotion, men become emotion. But I'm going to be honest. This is probably opening up really serious wounds here for Will. I mean, he's carrying a lot of guilt here. And, you know, as I've said before, your mother is a thing. Like, daddy just don't quite hit the same sometimes. Sometimes the love,
even with men, like even with sons, same.
it's I think pretty commonly, I think we've talked about this before, you know, men tend to be closer to their fathers and women tend to be closer to their mothers. Tends to be true. But there's just something about my mom being there when something is hard. There's like, she's my mom. She's been there since day one. I was inside her. She's been there since day zero.
Right.
Like, I guess I feel like, look, I think this is a really hard situation. I think I'm going to struggle to throw out any asshole cards here, but like, I don't necessarily think that it is a reflection of his inadequacy. I actually think that he's being pretty transparent. Like, I'm out of depth with Will and I genuinely need her help and support. And it's like, he probably does because, yeah, like I think Will probably needs his mommy here a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
And I think everybody's so different with their different relationships. And for me, I've always looked to the father figures in my life for guidance, for mentorship, for, you know, what would you do in this situation? Where I've looked to my mom more for support. And
I'm on board with that, Jake. Very well put.
I'm not even going to call it a ding. My suggestion, my gut here says I think that dad needs to find a new depth for himself to be somebody that Will can rely on right now, and he needs to give his partner space to be there for his sister, and then he can have the emotional vulnerability to rely on his partner to allow him to create the depth that he needs to be there for Will. So I think that really this is being a good man in this moment, to me, is being a support for everyone simultaneously, keeping your focus on your son and coming to your partner with true vulnerability and saying, hey, I need you here. I know that you need to be there for your sister. Can you be here for me while I take the lead with Will? And just do everything you can to keep everybody above water.
Yeah.
It just feels a little myopic toward Michelle. I feel like if she was splitting her time 3-1, I'd be like, I get it. Michelle almost died, but like to not give her son, and like I think OP did make a pretty good point. Like, Michelle has parents. She's 22. She has young parents.
Well, no, because the wife is 20 years older.
Well, how'd you know
It was in the post. I cut it down,
nice.
But because she's a very young sister. She's 22.
Michelle is much younger than the wife.
20 years younger than the wife.
Which adds a lot of
meaning
context.
that's why she looks at her as her first child, because she helped raise her basically.
I kind of understand where the wife is coming from with Michelle on that, and it like y'all said, this is really tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, I think this is a form of grieve or pass. This is like a inherently traumatic situation for all parties involved. I mean, good Lord, these are like some of the worst things that can happen to a person, really.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe Will is also feeling worse too, because then it's like, you know, this is taking up all of mom's time and she's, you know, like, this is my fault. Like, he's probably just playing over and over in his head, like, it's my fault. It's my fault. And yeah, I can see him wanting his mom in this situation, because like I certainly always, you know, wanted my mom when stuff like this went down. Not like this, but, you know, issues in my life. But I wasn't sure how it was with men and their dads.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I'm struggling to vilify anyone here. I think obviously if there was a ding, it would be, you know, that he's kind of reaching for her and telling her what to do. And I don't love it. Maybe did I get a demanding tone out of this? I guess I kind of feel like it wasn't more of a like, hey, I'm just concerned that, you know, Will is asking for you, but I don't feel like Will is asking for her.
It felt like there's a bit of exasperation here because dad doesn't know what to do. And that's where I'm landing. I'm right there with you, where I don't think there's any villains in the story. I think there's a lot of people who are doing their best in a really challenging moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I think labeling and creating this hierarchy here isn't super productive. I think that, we were talking about it on the other episode, we got to just, when shit goes down, it's about listening, holding, caring, a lot of like more primal things than it is about telling people what to do. I mean, honestly, maybe just bring fucking Will to Michelle. Like, let's get the whole gang together.
Yeah.
Let's be a family.
Make it a unit operation. I'm with that.
I actually think I am ready to ding because I'm kind of like, he's kind of like judging her a little bit. He's thinking. This is not the time to think. This is the time to be present and comfort and supportive. And he's overthinking it. He shouldn't be thinking. He needs to be supporting.
Right. And she's already going through such a stressful time, and it's probably really scary. So to bring, she's probably giving her all, and it's hard to give your emotional bandwidth to anyone else. And then him saying, we need more from you. It's like, oh my God, like I can't even imagine giving any more than I'm already giving at the moment.
There's role assignment going on. There's marching orders being given. And I'm kind of coming around on that.
And also too, it's like, again, like, why is it the woman's job for this emotional labor? Like, is Will asking for his mom? No, it never says anywhere in the post that Will is asking for his mom.
It doesn't.
The man is just saying that he can't do it. He's out of his depth. Well, get in your depth then. Challenge yourself.
That's kind of the point I was coming at with this. Like, you're the dad. You need to, I hate the phrase be a man. It can be toxic. It can be really demeaning to the male experience, but you do need to be a dad right now. You need to be a dad, and that's hard and it's challenging and it's terrifying, I'm sure, but it's the role you have. And I think you got to step up in this moment and be a support for everybody around you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm ready to fully go that way, but I do think he seems annoying. I guess I can be there.
Well, we've got an update.
Hit me.
I agree with all the YTAs about my wording and apologized to her for it and said that I don't need her to choose between Michelle and Will, just to make sure that she keeps time for him because I'm not sure she's understood what he's been going through these past several weeks. We haven't fully talked about it, but she seems to have taken it to heart and said that she's trying to decide how to approach it with Will because he hates receiving attention and concern when he's feeling shitty.
Well, that sounds good. Yeah, I mean, look, I think, Shannon, you are onto something. Like, it's true. Like, women do way more emotional labor. There's a great stat in the book I've been reading. Will continue to be reading for a very long time because it's extremely depressing. It's called Invisible Women, and it's about the gender data gap, and like we disproportionately students go to their woman professors when they have issues, and that's just more work for them. It adds up to more work,
right?
I'm struggling, So
totally,
and they get worse reviews. This is so brutal, even online. Female professors get worse reviews if they're not perceived as like warm and kind and friendly. It's insane.
God. Can't win.
Can't win. So this is a toughie. I think
it's a toughie.
I think it's fair. Look, I think it's fair. I think a lot of guys and dads aren't in touch with their emotions. That said, I do think there's a strong case to be made that, sometimes when you almost kill your you almost kill your mom's sister, you might be feeling some guilt. And I thought Jake nailed it. There is something about moms tend to, generally speaking, be more an emotionally supportive energy support, whereas dads might be more of a guidance and advice thing. And some of that is gender culture. But I also do think the bond between, a mother and a child, I think that shit hit different. I didn't suck on my dad's nipples. True. And you know why that is? Because his parents are first cousins. Smart. That's how you beat them. AITA for telling my wife our son's mental health should be more important to her than her sister's physical health. I think we're throwing out a soft,
yeah, right.
Soft white.
I think that's perfectly fair in this situation. And it looks like he's even in agreement with that. He knows that there were errors in how he approached this. So can't ask for a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm. Guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod, I post pictures of my mutant family. No, we got 180 plus bonus episodes. There was one with Sarah coming out soon. It's really exciting stuff in there. It's great. So let's wrap this thing up, huh?
Mm-hmm.
AITA for putting rules on mental health days.
Oh.
I'm the mother of 2 teenagers, a 17-year-old junior, Susie, and a 14-year-old freshman, Tom. Really opting for the 1950s names here.
Yeah, they really are.
Archibald was taken.
During Susie's freshman year, her workload and stress was through the roof. So my husband and I decided we would implement mental health days. We had no rules for a day other than be reasonable about when you take them, and they couldn't be on test days. This worked great, and over the past few years, Susie spread out her days throughout the year and only took about 3 or 4 each school year. Unfortunately, Tom has taken advantage. This year alone, he has taken about 25 days. He hasn't been using his days for his mental health. It's been for sleeping in because he wants to stay up all night. No bedtimes, just have to get up in the morning no matter when you went to bed. Hanging out to get more time on his video games or to hang out with other friends that are skipping. This came to a head last week when he was talking to us at dinner about a game release coming up and how he plans to use mental health days so he can stay home and play. TBH, I was fuming when he said this. I told him he had no more mental health days he could use this year, and they are not for video games. He yelled that he could do what he wanted for his mental health days. I informed him there would now be rules on them. They can no longer be used to sleep in. They couldn't be used to sit and play games all day, and they would not be used to hang out with friends. I told them all, if you had to take multiple health days a month, you would be attending therapy. The kids were mad, but my husband agreed in front of them. When we were alone, he blew up on me, saying I can't put rules on mental health days, and I was being cruel. I argued back that our kids were not going to walk all over me when it comes to these days, and if it continues, then I'm ending them altogether. He called me a biatch, and now we aren't speaking. When not in front of the kids. AITA. Wow. In one sentence, I went from like, okay, that was ugly to like, we aren't speaking when not in front of the kid. Like, over this? This is like, God, how did this get so heavy?
I know. Went from 0 to 60 in 3.5.
Well, he broke out the B word. That'll create that's a point of no return for sure.
Yeah.
No,
what's with the name calling? Like, why?
Hey, child? You fucking child?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
No, you are a fucking
I
child.
am a child. Yes.
There was a second where you thought that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so immature.
I'm kind of baffled that they instituted. It was like the parents just learned the concept of mental health days and thought, surely a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old wouldn't abuse this system that some progressive workplaces have implemented.
I know.
And what are they telling the school? Like, hey, sorry, Tom's taking another MD, MHD.
I guess they would just say they were sick days or something like that. But Jesus, like
25.
You let this get so out of hand.
It's ridiculous.
And, I mean, honestly, I can't blame a 14-year-old like wanting to take advantage of this. I feel like I would probably do the same. I mean, probably not 25 because that I would be like, okay, they're going to catch on.
Yeah, even at 14, you should have probably calibrated your scam here and known if you try to run this gimmick too hard, it's gonna blow up.
Dude,
on
that
you.
isn't even why he got caught though. He just got caught because he was straight up like, yeah, new video game release, mental health day is coming up.
Looking like I'm gonna have a real rough patch tomorrow.
Right? Don't tell him.
Yeah.
I want to call attention. One of my favorite things here too is there's no bedtimes. You just have to get up in the morning no matter when you went to bed. And it says here he's sleeping in. So like as long as you don't die in your sleep, what rule are we talking about here?
You have a mental health day if you stay up all night. Yeah, I mean, I think this whole mental health thing, it can be leveraged, and like this is getting way out of hand. And by the way, workplaces, like we're giving you guys sick days and mental health days. Shut the fuck up and just give us more PTO. End discussion. Just give us more PTO. And don't try to lie and call it a sick day or whatever, because like there are places where the manager will be like, oh, mostly a doctor slip or whatever. It's like, no, just give us more time off.
And isn't it like, I think a lot of other countries, like most of the world, sick days are government mandated thing, and you have a set amount
I'm
of
sure
time
we have.
for
Well, I know we have.
illness.
This is the only developed country or whatever, the only like nice country that's decent, but whatever.
Hustle
one
culture.
of the few countries that has no paid maternity leave.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess, well, yeah, bye.
Yeah, but
That's the policy.
have
That's
you
the fucking
considered the
policy.
quarterly earnings? Have you thought about the well-being of the corporate? What about the corporation's mental health?
It's crazy. And in that book I'm reading too, they always fire women right before they're like, oh, you're pregnant. Oh, wow, your performance isn't
That's
looking
crazy
very good.
because
Crazy
like
coincidence.
metrics.
That's why they hide it a lot of the times.
Yeah. No, it's fucked up. But yeah, this is like, I look, obviously mental health is a real thing. I also think there's bad days are also just a thing. Doesn't need to be mental health. You ever go to the gym when you're 33 and your shoulder hurts all day? So like shit can happen, but like, this is bad parenting. I don't blame the son. I'm like, that's what you're supposed to do. When you're
You get Bart Simpson over here figured out how to work this game. You've set no parameters
Yeah,
on
he
the
ain't even
immediately
hiding
version
it.
of this.
I don't understand the dad blowing up at the mom for wanting to put some rules that they should have implemented to begin with.
I feel like dad's taking a
hell?
lot of mental health days too, and is suddenly like, the jig is up. She's gonna figure out I haven't been to work in 3 months.
Yeah.
I see it as siding with the son. That was my read. But
Yeah.
obviously calling your partner a B word.
That's unforgivable.
Saying
Fuck
she's being
off.
cruel because she wants to monitor how many days they're taking off. Cruel?
Yeah.
What are you, crazy?
And I think parents shouldn't really have give like this by default. I think you give, obviously, because you're a human being and you've lived life. But the policy is you're going to fucking school and you're going to fucking bed. That's the
Yeah.
policy, baby.
Right.
There's no sick days.
Yeah, there are sick days.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying is like, I am a tyrant of this household.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I will decide if there are any days.
I
You
see what
shouldn't
you're
even be
saying.
thinking about sick days.
Yeah.
You know?
I do
I
think,
want blood.
I do think it's funny that OP had the audacity to write, I will not be walked all over on this. Like, honey, he's done this 25 times.
25.
You've been stampeded over.
What do you get? 7? I think you get,
That's
what do you
I've
get?
been
14?
trying
That's
to
got to
look
be
up. I'm having a hard time finding a
I think you
right
get 14
answer.
unexcused absences and then you flunk.
Oh,
So,
Yeah.
like,
experts consider 18 missed days per year to be chronic. So 18.
So he's a
18
chronic.
excused absence. I keep saying 18. So that's like, yeah, I feel like the school would be like, what's going on?
yeah.
How did you let it to get to this point?
We're liberal.
I actually have very specific nightmares. I wouldn't say they're recurring, but for some reason, like I'm suddenly in school at an undescript age or whatever,
Yeah.
and I have somehow forgotten that school was going on, and I've missed
yeah.
like 2 months of it.
Yes.
And it's this huge problem, and my whole life's about to fall apart. And I'll wake up and have a moment where I almost wake up Jackie and be like, honey, I fucked up so bad. I haven't been to school in 2 months. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's fine.
I have one's kind of like that, but it's like I had an online class that I completely forgot about
Yeah.
until the end of the semester. And I'm like about to graduate or something. And it's like, oh my God, I didn't do anything for this online class. I still have that one to this day.
Really?
Yep. To this day.
I haven't had one of those in a while, but I did learn I had an extremely violent dream.
Uh-oh.
And I Googled it, and that's actually when your your dad's parents are first
Shut up.
He got us.
No, actually, when you're very stressed out, they say that can be a thing.
Yep.
So ESH, your son for taking advantage of his mental health days. You suck as a parent for letting your minor take full autonomy of his sleep schedule. Ars holier than thou, YTA, not for this because you set this up the way to begin with. Only contemplate not doing so if they're in actual distress, not just a little stressed out. Yeah, I think that's why you need to present a little firmly. I disagree with NTA on this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had a lot, like the comments were all over the place. It was like some were going NTA, some were going ESH, some were going YTA. I don't know. I could probably go ESH.
I'm
Seems like they all
ESH
suck,
on this one.
Except for the daughter, Susie. What a little princess.
I feel like Susie might be the mastermind behind all this, the Machiavellian genius.
She's the one that started it all. We can thank her.
I think I'm more NTA on this. Obviously, I think the biggest asshole is the father.
Yeah.
But I also got to ding mommy. It's like, I'm sorry, but this is not how you parent.
Wait, so you're saying NTA?
AITA for putting rules on mental health days. Oh no, I'm saying full YTA.
Full YTA.
full
okay.
YTA. But the dad being the
really?
worst and then mom being second worst.
I got-
So
I'm not
dad
dinging-
is-
I'm not dinging
you're
the
just not
son.
digging the son.
I can't
But
ding the
he's being
son.
A little prick.
You're supposed to be
too.
a prick when you're 17.
He's 14.
But
Which-
still,
which
that's
is
even
more-
No,
better.
Susie.
A
Oh, yeah.
17-year-old junior
He's
Susie
14
and
and his
14-year-old
parents
freshman.
are letting him take days off.
He
That's on
sucks
them.
too.
That's
He's
on
taking
them.
advantage. He's being a little.
I'm gonna ding. I think that everyone in this family needs to be in family therapy. I think that this is a disaster. I think that this is falling apart at the seams. And I do put the blame on the parents, but I'm thinking about myself at 14 years old. If I had a way where, look, there were days where like I don't think I ever faked being sick, but there were days where I thought about like I could probably pull a Ferris Bueller
Yeah, I've
and
done that a
convince
few
like
times.
but I don't think I would ever take advantage of it like this
No.
because I know the disaster that it could create. And like the parents are the most to blame here, but I think that the 14-year-old is still pulling strings. He's aware of what he's doing.
Being
I don't think he's ignorant
manipulative.
to
I don't
to the
care. I don't
moves he's
like when
pulling.
people say the whole like, you know,
He's
and
just a boy.
Yeah, like I get it sometimes that it can be an excuse, but it's like I remember when I was 14, like I wasn't this big of a shithead. Like I think he's being like a dick.
And even if we
And
take
he's just waving it in front of them, like, I'm getting a video game.
But you've got to have a little bit of structure. I think if the parents are not putting up structure, that's on them. But whatever, we don't need to argue this into the ground. I think we agree. Well, we disagree. YTA and ESHs.
Yeah.
isn't it an ESH if both the mom and the dad are villains in this though?
You could split it out that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is the app. Take a mental health day because you deserve it.
You deserve it.
Fuck that job.
Love ya.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hell yeah, I found it.
Oh yeah, that was nice.